Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Dykes here for Infowars.com. Obviously, I don't need to explain to you how the system is trying to use the Sandy Hook shooting tragedy to advance its gun control agenda. But a further horrible exploitation, a really sad tragedy, is the extent to which we have state-controlled media that deliberately puts out images and media hoaxes to try to play with your sympathies. You've already seen Obama caught shedding these fake tears after the Sandy Hook shooting tragedy, where he got up and gave a press conference and read the children's names, despite the fact that week after week he orders these drone strikes and people die in this country and he isn't concerned about it. But now, more than 2.5 weeks after the shooting, the White House has released another so-called official photo showing Obama bowing his head in anguish, grief at the Oval Office, the Daily Mail says. Picture of the terrible moment Obama was told about the Sandy Hook shootings is released. The photo is indeed very sympathetic. But is it even real? I would question it right away. He's calling it the worst day of his presidency. Well, have we forgotten that not that long ago, after the bin Laden raid, they claimed to have released this famous White House photo of Hillary Clinton and Obama and Joe Biden and a who's who of top advisors, Robert Gates, supposedly looking on, watching the Osama raid footage. Hillary has her hand over her mouth. It's such a dramatic and tense moment, the day that justice finally caught up with those evil terrorists. The only problem was, it turned out it was fake. The CIA admitted there was no live footage of the raid and that basically this was a staged PR photo at the White House. Now, perhaps they were getting certain types of reports, if this was even a real event. We haven't seen bin Laden's body, and all the evidence of the story doesn't add up. The story's been changed. We've seen so many lies from this administration, the Bush administration, and on. But certainly, without a doubt, the idea that this photo was the moment they witnessed bin Laden being killed in a raid was completely phony. So for that reason, and the fact that Obama was caught with these fake tears, this crocodile tears sympathy for the children, there's every reason to question this latest White House photo. And why would they release it more than 2.5 weeks after the incident? Well, obviously so they can continue to play upon the sympathies, to milk empathy from the public as they try to convince us that gun control is for the best. Again, he calls this the worst day of his presidency. Well, back during the bin Laden raid, he called it the most important single day of his presidency. It's the same kind of propaganda lines that you see over and over. Don't forget the whole Jessica Lynch story in Iraq was a fraud. Just last summer, in July, concerning the Syria matter, we caught the European media photoshopping this image of a man fleeing with his baby and his wife in a burqa, only they changed out the background to make it appear there was a bombed out war zone going on, completely manipulating the facts to sell an image of a war, to sell an image of the need for gun control, to sell an image of a president in charge, when again he's just a master of ceremonies. It's a ceremonial, folks, and it goes back to the kind of state propaganda we saw in classic communist regimes. Joseph Stalin, Lenin, Mao, you name it. Remember when Kim Jong-il died, all the fake tears in North Korea, even the BBC published the headline, "How genuine are the tears in North Korea?" And indeed, they look very phony. You go back, the whole cult of personality, that famous song you hear on rock radio all the time, goes back to the classic era of Joseph Stalin, where he sold himself as a father of the country and that everyone was his children. They had statues and ceremonies where they displayed devotion, and he was meant to look strong but also sympathetic towards the people, and all kinds of images and posters and propaganda put out to support this idea. Obviously, it's not limited to Stalin. It's very classic of a government-controlled tyranny where they want to sell you on the power, prestige, and the lovingness of your dear leader. That's what's going on in this propaganda photo released by the White House to continue to milk the Sandy Hook tragedy. Thanks for watching. I hope we can wake up to these deceptions going on and say no, hold on to our principles, and not get sucked into this emotional storm so that we can keep our Constitution and Bill of Rights and revigorate them and nullify any attempts at gun control, because it's unconstitutional and it's against our God-given rights that are only outlined in the Bill of Rights and Constitution, but not granted by that Constitution and Bill of Rights. Aaron Dykes signing off for Infowars.com.